Hey guys, what's going on, dudes? It is David here. We are back with another 32 NFL mock draft for the 2023 NFL draft. Now, I haven't done one in the past, I think in the past 2 weeks, but we're back. And with the number one overall pick, we are going to have trades involved in this. But next one, we're going to be doing a 2-round mock draft. But without further ado, we're going to have a trade. We're going to have the Chicago Bears trade with the Houston Texans. Pick number 1, pick number 2, and we're going to throw in a second this year, and we're going to trade. Houston goes up to number 1, and on the first part of the board, Bryce Young will be heading to Houston, and DeMeco Ryans is going to begin his quarterback for the future. Now, with Davis Mills, they can have a chance to, continue on and possibly go for a quarterback next year, but I think they're going to go to this year. And with the number 2 overall pick, the Chicago Bears will be back on the board, and they will be trading the pick with the Indianapolis Colts. And they are going to trade pick number 2 for pick number 4, and the Colts will be trading a first next year. We'll do it first next year. And the Colts are on the board. They're going to get their quarterback, C.J. Stroud, at pick number 2, their quarterback of the future. That leaves the Arizona Cardinals now up on the board, as the Arizona Cardinals will get probably what is going to be the best defensive player in this draft. Will Anderson Jr. heads to the Arizona Cardinals. Now at pick number 5, pick number 4, we have the Chicago Bears. And Chicago is in a very interesting spot because we have Las Vegas, who could look to take a quarterback. Detroit, who could look to take a quarterback. So in this instance, they're going to get more picks and they're going to trade down again. And they are going to trade with the Carolina Panthers. Pick number 4, pick number 9. Their late second and a second next year. Of course, they say this too much. We'll just do their late second and their 9th for that. So the Carolina Panthers move up on the board, and they're going to jump ahead, and they're going to take a shot at their quarterback of the future in Anthony Richardson. Now, keep in mind, Falcons have talked to C.J. Stroud, so there's a slight possibility they get a quarterback. If Anthony Richardson were to go to Atlanta, I would lose my mind. He's a Florida quarterback who would be playing for the Atlanta Falcons. It'd be amazing. But Seattle's next pick is going to be Tyree Wilson. Tyree Wilson is just a very good fit for the Seattle Seahawks, and they're just continue going up with the edge and getting pass rush and getting pressure on the quarterback. Christian Gonzalez is going to be going next to the Detroit Lions. They need DB, even though they do have they basically need a DB pairing, which is what the Falcons need. But yeah, Christian Gonzalez is definitely going to be the pick. And at pick number 7, Las Vegas Raiders are going to get their quarterback of the future in Will Levis. This is going to be interesting to me because Josh McDaniels is still in the possibility of the trade for Aaron Rodgers. So it could be interesting. They cannot go for a quarterback. They could go for a tackle. But in this instance, I think that Josh McDaniels is going to want to get his quarterback for the future, quarterback that he can say that he developed, that Bill Belichick did not develop. So Will Levis will be heading to Las Vegas Raiders. As we move on into my favorite team, and even though there have been many things going on around him, I don't think that the Falcons are going to be taking. I don't think Jalen Carter is going to go top 10. I'm going to be honest, I really just don't think Jalen Carter is going to go top 10. So I'm going to take Luke Van Ness. Luke Van Ness has been killing it ever since, he's been projected to come up on the board. So Luke Van Ness is going to go here, and I guess really now is going to be the time where Jalen Carter really goes, because the Chicago Bears just need to add to that defensive line. And Jalen Carter, even though he'd be a late top 10 pick, it'd still be a very good thing for the Chicago Bears who need really that defensive line. Now we have the Philadelphia Eagles, who definitely will be going cornerback in this position. And in this one, I'm going to have them take Penn State's Joey Porter Jr. Adding to the cornerback position, going to need that. We don't know what's going to happen with Darius Slay, so that's really what I'm going to go with. The Tennessee Titans. Tackle, important, Paris Johnson, right on the board for them, as we have Myles Murphy heading to the Houston Texans. So not only does DeMeco Ryans get his quarterback for the future, he also gets an edge rusher that he can develop with this defense, because I expect that Houston defense to be very good over the next coming years, as we have the New York Jets now on the board. They also need tackle. But at this point, would somebody be willing to come up on the board and take Devin Witherspoon? Yes, we're going to have a trade. The New York Jets are going to be trading. They are going to be trading with the Washington football team. And they are going to give up a third rounder, and Washington's going to come up and they are going to select Devon Witherspoon, cornerback out of Illinois. I know it's a bit out there because they would have to trade up. You would probably think that he would be able to slide down. But with the way New England develops their cornerbacks, I wouldn't put it past it for New England to go out there and get it. But New England's going to go out on wide receiver, and they're going to get Jordan Addison. That'll be back-to-back years. A USC wide receiver is gone in the first round of the draft. Drake London was last year. This year's Jordan Addison. And with Green Bay most likely going to get a trade and trade Aaron Rodgers, I think they're going to want to give whoever their quarterback is, probably going to be Jordan Love, a weapon. And they're going to get Michael Mayer tight end at pick number 15 as we move on into the New York Jets. And tackle's still on the board here. And they're right ahead of the Pittsburgh Steelers, who also need a tackle. They're going to get Peter Skoronski at pick number 16 as the Steelers are on the board. They could also add another weapon to their arsenal. Give Kenny Pickett more weapons. But that's not what he needs. He needs defense. Cam Smith seems like a good pick, but it feels like a reach. So I think at pick number 17, Broderick Jones is going to be the Pittsburgh Steelers. Protect Kenny Pickett is what Mike Tomlin is going to need to do, and is what he's going to do. So now we have the Detroit Lions back on the board. And Detroit Lions are in a very interesting position because they can do whatever they really want. And considering that they're going to need DB help, they're going to take Brian Branch at pick number 18, as Cam Smith most likely will be going to the Buccaneers. If Jamel Dean ends up leaving the Buccaneers, they're definitely going to need a cornerback. And Cam Smith seems like a good, reliable cornerback for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. So that's what we're going to be doing here. Seattle is back on the board. But in this instance, I think we're going to have another trade. And the Baltimore Ravens will be moving up because they're going to want to get a weapon. So the Baltimore Ravens are going to move up with the Seattle Seahawks. The Seattle Seahawks will be trading back, and they're going to give up a third. We'll just do that. And the Baltimore Ravens will be coming up to get Quentin Johnson, wide receiver at TCU, possibly one of the best wide receivers, or the best wide receiver in this class, which is why we decided to go with it. Chargers also need wide receiver. They're going to go ahead and grab Jasmine Smith and Jigba as the Seattle Seahawks are back on the board. They are get edge. They don't really need cornerback. I'm going to have them take Osiris Torrance, protect their quarterback, which is now Geno Smith, because they just recently re-signed Geno Smith to an extension as the one team I think that needs the cornerback the most. And they're going to take Deonte Banks, cornerback out of Maryland, who I think is going to be a very shocking player that could go higher than this, possibly, from the Washington Commanders. But I think Minnesota Vikings definitely need a cornerback position, so that's what I'm going to go with. Jacksonville, they just put Evan Ingram on the franchise tag. So I think they're going to not look at tight end that position. They do need cornerback. They do need tackle, to be honest, but I'm going to have them take Kelee Ringo, cornerback out of Georgia. In that defense, that Doug Peterson defense, I'm forgetting a lot of people's names. That Doug Peterson defense, I think he's going to make a difference. As we have the New York Giants on the board, wide receiver or cornerback, Jalin Hyatt or Zay Flowers. Jalin Hyatt's going to go to the New York Giants. Give a weapon to Danny Dimes, who just today or yesterday signed a contract extension to stay in the state of New York. As the Dallas Cowboys are on the board, they're going to take Zay Flowers at another wide receiver for Dak Prescott. As we have the Buffalo Bills on the board, I've done this pick many times. Bijan Robinson is going to go to Buffalo. He'll be the number one running back on that team, and that'll just be a very good two-headed weapon. Since Cincinnati Bengals are on the board, and even though Dalton Kincaid isn't here, I'm going to have them take Darnell Washington, who I think is going to be the second best tight end after Michael Mayer. And now we have the New Orleans Saints on the board. They just signed, they just signed the quarterback. I forgot his name. Derek Carr to a contract. I completely, my mind was going to blank. Defensive line, Brian Breezy, perfect pick for the New Orleans Saints. As the Philadelphia Eagles are back on the board, Nolan Smith had an unbelievable combine, and they're going to get him right at pick number 30. That's going to be a steal in this draft, as the Kansas City Chiefs are up on the board. And here we have it. Why is there a second round? I did not do a second round. Oh man, did I do 7 rounds? I think I did, but I'm just going to end it at pick number 32. But the Kansas City Chiefs are going to need to get a edge rusher. I'm going to have them take Isaiah Foskey at the end of the first round. That leaves the Pittsburgh Steelers on the board. And they are going to look at one of the best players available, and I think they're going to take Emmanuel Forbes at pick number 32, which means that is it for the draft. I know right now it's saying you are the clock, but I'm only doing a 1-round mock draft. So, I mean, looking at the previous picks, let's go back and take a look at each one. Bryce Young, C.J. Stroud to the Colts. Will Anderson, Anthony Richardson, Carolina trading him, getting Anthony Richardson, Tyree Wilson, Christian Gonzalez, Will Levis, Luke Van Ness surprisingly going to the Falcons, Jalen Carter, Joey Porter Jr., Paris Johnson to the Titans, Miles Murphy, Devin Witherspoon, Jordan Addison, Michael Mayer, Peter Skoronski, Broderick Jones, Brian Branch, Cam Smith, Quinn Johnson, Jasmine Sith-Igbigba going to the Chargers. After the Chargers, we have Osiris Torrance going to Seattle, Deontay Banks going to Minnesota, Kelee Ringo, back-to-back corners going to Minnesota and Jacksonville. The Giants getting Jalin Hyatt, Zay Flowers goes to Dallas. Bijan Robinson goes to Buffalo. Darnell Washington goes to Cincinnati. Brian Breezy, Nolan Smith, Isaiah Foskey, and Emmanuel Forbes. So without further ado, that is it for my 2023 NFL mock draft for all 32 teams. Make sure you guys like the video, subscribe to the channel, and I'll see you guys all for our next 32 team mock draft, which will include 2 rounds.